أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Masood from Muslims Connected. I am the founder of Muslims Connected, and this is one of the initiatives that we decided to focus on for 2022, to focus on different languages. So 2021, we focused on the Arabic language. Alhamdulillah, the program has been successful and it's still running till today. And this year, some of the languages that we'd like to focus on is Spanish, Turkish, French, and Urdu. And one of the reasons why we chose languages, it's because language is something that we can all relate to, and I think it's an opportunity for many of us to benefit from one another. Is the sound okay? Okay, the sound is okay. So my journey with language, so basically I started learning Arabic in South Africa, and it never really worked for me, so I traveled to Egypt. So I am currently in Egypt studying the Arabic language and Islamic studies at Al-Azhar University. And this is how Muslims Connected came about. Basically, we would have monthly sessions at my place with students from all over the world: Canada, Europe, Netherlands, Spain, Portugal. And something I saw happen in these gatherings was students would connect with one another. You know, they would become friends, and that's how the name Muslims Connected came about, based on that principle, you know, networking and creating friendships amongst one another from different cultures. And alhamdulillah, I think one of the motivations for me to learn languages is obviously because there's many series as well. So I like watching series like Usman, Erdogan, Money Heist, all of these series, you know. So that's one of my motivations to learn Spanish and Turkish, and that's why I'm starting with those two languages for 2022. So obviously Allah is the one that gives us understanding, and one thing I've realized with any language, it takes time and effort. You know, it just takes time and effort, and you have to be patient. And my journey with the Arabic language was that I studied really, really hard for quite a while at an Arabic center in Egypt. And after a couple of months, it never made sense. And I thought if I were to travel to Egypt, I would like understand the language after a couple of months. But like it really took a while for the language to settle. And language is taught from a language acquisition point of view in Egypt, not from a religious point of view. So you're learning how to go to the shop, how to purchase a milk at the shop, how to have a basic dialogue or something. That's how language is taught in Egypt. And I think that's my approach with learning other languages as well. You learn it from a language acquisition point of view. You know, and one of the main things that I realized when it comes to languages is that vocab is the most important thing. Memorization of vocab and trying to understand vocab. I think that's a key component in any language. And I think when it comes to Spanish, there's some sort of relation between English and Spanish. So it might not be as hard as learning the Arabic language or learning Chinese, Mandarin, or Russian, you know. So hopefully, inshallah, Allah will bless us with many openings in this course. That's my niyyah, that's my intention. And before we start anything, we ask Allah to open our hearts up and bless us with many, many openings in this language. And people might have different intentions to study a language. And I think it's an extremely good skill to have when you possess many languages, especially if you travel and you networking and meeting with different people from all walks of life, you know. Dropping the language, it always kind of creates a bond between people. So inshallah, I won't get into much detail. Ilham, the presenter, will be introducing herself, and just a brief some of Muslims Connected programs. What we focus on mainly courses for beginners, right? People that that doesn't have any background in Islamic studies. We try and focus on that, and then we focus on mental health as well. And we focus on parenting, and we focus on relationships. So for the next couple of months, we've got quite a good lineup in terms of our weekend seminars. Another thing that we focus on is self-development. So inshallah, if you are interested in our seminars, please follow us on Instagram and or message me on WhatsApp, and I'll respond, and you can join one of the groups for our announcements. But shukran to everybody that has turned up, and I'm really looking forward to learning this language with you, and I'm sure everyone's excited. Can you indicate in the group, if you in the chat, if you are excited to learn this language, this new language? It's a new journey for all of us. So I can't wait to actually sit in maybe, you see, the other reason why I want to do Spanish is because I don't mind watching the series again to practice my Spanish, you know, so I can actually listen and focus on that, because it's not boring. So let's see how it goes, inshallah. Shukran to everyone, and I won't speak again in this series. Ilham will kind of take control now, and shukran jazilan, barakallahu feekum, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ilham, are you there? Okay, there we go.
Okay, perfect. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Before we begin, I think it would be good to take a minute to introduce this person you'll be seeing every Wednesday for the next few weeks. I'm Ilham, a dedicated student and now occasional teacher from South Africa. At any given moment, you could find me either writing, learning a new language, or making a list of things to do that I definitely won't be following through with. Okay, now let's get into short-term goals. For tonight, I plan on going over the alphabet, the most basic thing you can learn in any language. And I also have other things in store if we finish it before 9 p.m., which we probably will. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. I will try to look at it maybe in the last 5 minutes. Okay, let's begin. I'll share my screen. Okay, can you all see this?
We can't see your screen, Ilham.
Oh, okay. 2 seconds.
Are you there?
Yes, I am. Okay. Okay, how about now? Is it showing?
No. Did you press on share screen?
Yes, I did. Oh, okay. Okay, how about I share my slides with you and then maybe I can just indicate when I need to change slides then.
Okay, cool. Can you perhaps email it to me? Should I try and make you the host, Ilham? But that shouldn't be a problem because you are able to share. Okay, there we go. I think you shared something now, or was it me? Is it giving you an error or something?
I'm not seeing anything here. Okay, I think it could just be the host situation. Maybe that's...
Okay, let me try and make you the host. Okay, I've made you the host.
Okay, shukran. Okay, I've shared it with you. Maybe that will be the best option for today.
Okay. Let me just download it. Okay, can you make me the host again, please?
Okay. There you go. Ah, perfect.
Okay, Bismillah.
Shukran. Okay, so the alphabet.
Okay.
Okay, next slide, please. You can skip 2 slides, it's okay. So el alfabeto basically means the alphabet in Spanish. Okay, so over here we have our very first letter. This vowel does exist in English, but the pronunciation is a little bit different. So on the right-hand side, you'll see I have 3 words in English as well as 3 words in Spanish. So the English words indicate the sound that the Spanish letter has in English. So,
Ilham, is your video on?
no, it's not.
Can you perhaps put on your video so we can see you in the corner?
Ah, okay. Okay,
Perfect.
great. So our first Spanish word is abuela. Then we have acceder and agria. So as you can see, this first letter makes an ah sound. So in English, it would be the ah in umbrella, up, and uncle. Okay, next one. Thank you. Oh, I think the things might have shifted. Okay, I'll fix that later. Next letter is B. This one's pretty simple, same in English as it is in Spanish. So we have bañera, bota, and bicho as our Spanish words. In English, same sound, bathtub, boot, and bug. This sound is a little tricky to remember. It changes depending on the vowel or consonant that's after it. So it's pronounced fe, but in our first word, it's pronounced k, cuarentena. Next word, coche, but in our third word, it has this sound, like thing or thatch or think. So it's cerebral, cerebral. So in English, the equivalent sound would be quarantine, car, or cerebral. And like the examples I gave earlier, think, thatch, thing. Next one is D or de in Spanish. Also same as the English D. So we have dieta, dañado, and desagüe in Spanish, and then diet, damaged, and drain in English. Okay, let me just see this question over here. What vowel would follow the C that would change its sound? Okay, so usually the C has a K sound, but when followed by an I or an E, it would become the or thi, like cerebral. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so next we have E. So this sound is very similar to the letter E in English. In Spanish, it's pronounced E. So our Spanish words would be elefante, emocionado, and emperador. In English, it would be the E in elephant, excited, and emperor. So the F is efe, also similar to English. We have facción, furioso, and flor in Spanish, and then faction, furious, flower in English. G is like C. This one's also a bit tricky. It does change when followed by certain vowels, but we'll get into more detail later. I have a whole little slide explaining it, but for now, we'll focus on these words. So when followed by an E or an I, I'm sure most of you are from South Africa, so most of you should understand Afrikaans. It has a sound, like the Afrikaans G or ha in Arabic. So our first word, I'll slow down. Our first word is gerundio, gerundio. Second word, this is followed by an A, so it takes the English pronunciation. So it's galactico, galactico. And our third one is followed by a U, so it's the same as the English G, G. So it's guitarra, guitarra. And then in English, we have galactic and guitar, and we don't have that sound in English. So there's no real word to compare it to. Okay, the H in Spanish is silent. So you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner, it says something that looks like hache. It's actually pronounced ache. We omit the H. So you'll see our first Spanish word is hola, not hola, hola. The H is silent. Then we have hija and huevo. So the English words I chose were order, install, and Uber, just a plain vowel sound at the beginning. Okay, so not all the English words are the meanings of the Spanish words. I just chose, in most of them are, but for some of them, I couldn't really find an English word that had a similar sound and meant the same thing, just to clarify that. Okay, so the I in Spanish is I. So our first word is inspirar. Then we have igloo and incidente. So in English, we have inspire, igloo, and incident. Okay, so this letter doesn't have any English equivalents, and it's pronounced like a light G, E, or GI sound, so that G and G sound we covered earlier. So this is pronounced Jota. Our first word is jueves. Then we have joya and jugo. It's a very subtle G sound. Next is ka, the same as English. So we have Kenya, kilometro, and karate. In English, Kenya, kilometer, and karate. Okay, quick question here. If the letter C is followed by the letter I or E, it's pronounced TH, exactly. Okay, now we have ele. Same as English again. Most of these consonants are the same as English. So our first one is leon, then we have lima and langosta. So in English, similar sounds would be lion, lime, and lobster. This is eme, also the same. We have música, maestro, and mezcla. So this in English would be music, master, and mixture. Now we come to ene. So for this we have nunca, nebulosa, and ni. So never, nebula, and no. Now that we are halfway through the alphabet, does anyone have any questions? Are there any letters you want me to go over, or are we all good? Let me just open the chat. J, G, and J. Okay. Okay, let's start with C then. Okay. So when C is followed by anything except an E or I, it's pronounced K. So in English, we have words like quarantine, car, cerebral. I made a mistake over there. Okay, just ignore that last one. Because today we're doing what we call Castellano, so that's Spanish from Spain. In Spanish from Latin America, cerebral, the sound would be acceptable with the English C. So when C is followed by an E or I, in Latin America, they would say se or si. But in Spanish from Spain, it's f. So just remember the C as being a normal K, unless followed by an E or I. Then it becomes f. Let me just send that. Okay, so next we have F. Okay, so F stays the same. So in English, we have faction, furious, and flower. So in Spanish, same thing, flor, furioso, facción, no difference for F. Okay, how does the individual sound change when it is part of a sentence, or is there no difference? Okay, there's no difference. Maybe sometimes you might find that people combine two words if, say, a word ends as on the same letter that another word starts. But I think we can get into that later once we start with conversational Spanish. Okay, next we have J. Oh, and G as well, okay. Let's start with G then. So the G sounds like a cha or a geer in Afrikaans. So we have gerundio, but that's only if it's followed by an I or E. So gerundio, because it's followed by an E. Gigante, that's a word that's followed by an I. Let me just type that here so you can all see. Okay, and otherwise it's always pronounced as a G. Is that okay? Does everyone get that one? Because I think a few people had a problem with the G.
لا I have a question with regards to the alphabet, right? Would you say, or would you recommend us like reading the alphabet on a daily basis to practice, just to get familiar with the alphabet and memorize it like we've memorized the English alphabet, the Arabic alphabet? Would you recommend us kind of repeating it on a daily basis to become familiar with the alphabet?
I think that would definitely help. I've planned something for the end of the lesson, so I will have that sent afterwards. It's a little reading activity for you all to do with the English translation at the bottom. So what you can do with that is just go over that, read it a few times, familiarize yourself with actual Spanish words. But since this is being recorded, I think it would be nice if people would watch this again, maybe once or twice, just so that you remember the sounds. And if you have any questions, these will probably be the ones I'm answering now. You can go over those, and then hopefully there'll be no problems. Okay. So I think the next one we have is J. So the J is very similar to the G. It's like a sound, but it's more subtle. So instead of saying jota, it would be like jota, like. So examples here are jueves, joya, and jugo. Is that okay? Okay, I think we're good with that one. Let's see what else we have. Okay, K. So K is always the same sound. Oh yes, it is a third sound, Leila. It's always a K sound. So in Spanish, the words we have are Kenya, kilometro, and karate. Same in English, Kenya, kilometer, karate. Pretty simple, I'm sure that one's okay. Okay, L. Also the same as English. So here we have leon, lima, and langosta. So in English, lion, lime, and lobster. No difference with this one. Okay. Is that all then? Okay, we have M. So again, same as English, música, maestro, and mezcla. So music, master, and mixture. Okay, so back here, N. So N in Spanish is enne. The words we have are nunca, nebulosa, and ni. And then in English, same sound again, never, nebula, and no. Okay, I think we have a request for H and L. After these two, I think we will carry on, and then if there are more questions, we can address them at the end. So remember, H is silent. So for H, our examples are hola. So here we don't pronounce the H. So we don't say hola, it's hola. And then instead of hija, it's hija. Instead of huevo, we say huevo or huevo. Okay. Okay. Question here. There's a double L sound in the Spanish alphabet. I saved that one for the end because we don't have that letter, I guess, those two letters in English. So we'll get there. Okay, so H is pronounced H without the H. Just ignore that H and then H. Hija it's a daughter. Okay. Oh, this letter. This we don't really have in English. There's one borrowed word from Italian. This is pronounced enye, so nya. So there aren't many words that start with this letter. It's usually found in the middle of a word, but I found 3 examples. I don't think you will ever use these words because they're just so uncommon, but here we go. So the first one is gnocchi. Gnocchi. The same as how we pronounce this in English, gnocchi. Yes, this is after the N sound. So enye comes after enye in the alphabet. Next is nyame, nyame, and then we have nyandu, nyandu. Is everyone okay with this one? It's a bit strange. Okay, so Mo says el niña. In this case, it would be la niña or el niño. But yes, you'll find the enye letter in the middle of that word. So that word is spelled enne, I, enye, a, and is pronounced nin, nya. I hope that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Okay, isn't this the same sound as the ng in song or king? Not exactly. That's this has a y at the end of the n. Nyame. I think nyame is a yam. I think that's the only word you might use out of these. Yam. Okay, let's go to the next one. So now we have o. So this would be similar to the English words oil, awesome, and orb. So in Spanish, we have, okay, here's the double L someone was talking about. Olla. So this double L is pronounced like a y as well. So this is olla, oso, and oveja. Okay, P, same as English again. We have plato, pistola, and policía. So this is plate, pistol, and policeman.
Ilham, I see now with policia, the I is after the C, so it becomes policia. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. But in South America, you'll hear that people say policía. That's just dialect or accent difference. But in Spain, people will say policía. That's the accent I learned. So I naturally pronounce things the Spanish way. Next is Q in English. So in Spanish, this is Q. So your K sound. So here we have química, Qatari, and Yelpo. So in English, we have chemistry, Qatari, and kelp. So it's just a K sound, pronounced the same way as the K that we saw earlier, Ka. Okay, so this letter is a bit difficult for some people to pronounce. It's pronounced ere. So this is a trolled R. I think that's the term for it. So it's like rrr. I know not everyone can do that, and it takes a while for children to get it as well, but we'll try. So the first one we have is raro, then reacción, and after, okay, so here we have rígido. Oh, so let me just go to the second word, reacción. So we have 2 C's over here. The second C is followed by an I. So that is pronounced like a th. So reacción. But the first C is followed by a consonant. So we stick to the rule and we pronounce it like a k. So reacción. reacción. So English doesn't really have a similar r sound, but I just gave some examples because it is similar. So we have reaction, and rigid. Oh yes, Arabic does have a similar R sound. Oh, and then this question over here, asking if enye is the same as an N and a Y pronounced together. Yes, it is. Okay. Now we have ese, same as English, sorbo, sésamo, and subi baja. So here we have sip, sesame, and seesaw. All the same sound for this one. Now we come to te. So our first word is te, which means tea. Then we have taclear, and next, tímido. So looking at the second word again, taclear. Here we have two vowels next to each other. So we pronounce them separately. So taclear, taclear. So in English, T, tackle, timid, all the same. Next one is U. Another letter you'll hardly find at the beginning of words. So our first word is Uzbeko. Then we have Urdu and Upsilon. So in English, Uzbek, Urdu, Upsilon. So it's like a double O sound in English and U. Okay, our next letter is B. Okay, what's Upsilon? That's just a Greek letter. Okay, Uzbeko. Someone asked for the pronunciation of Uzbeko here. So the Z also makes a TH sound. That's why I said Uzbeko, in case that was confusing. C makes a TH sound. Okay, so now we have B. So I think in South America, they pronounce the V in English as a V in Spanish as well. But in Spain, it's pronounced as a B sound. So B. Our first word is valeroso. Then we have barar and bejiga. So in English, we have brave, beach, and bladder.
I've got a question. The football team Barcelona, would that take a VV?
Sorry, can take?
The football team Barcelona, would it take this letter VV?
Oh no, it would just take a B. I'm not sure if there's a specific rule on when to use a V or B, if there's just a trick to remember it. But for now, they make the same sound. Okay, our next word is doble B. So words starting with doble B or W in English aren't very common in Spanish. Usually there'd be an English word that wouldn't really have its own word in Spanish. For example, windsurf. And sometimes Spanish people pronounce this as a G sound, a GU sound. So windsurf would become windsurf. But for now, we'll stick to the traditional W sound. So our first one is water. Then we have wiki and waflera. You might hear some people say guater or wiki or guaflera, but I'm sure any would be acceptable. So in English, our examples are water closet, wiki, and waffle. I think because most of the words are borrowed from English, it's more fluid. Oh yes, water is agua, but if you look at the Spanish word, water, that means water closet. Okay, our next letter is X. So I chose words that didn't have this in the beginning because I wanted to show you that it can sound different depending on the word. So our first word is xenophobia. So this is the same sound as the C in central. Xenophobia, central. Our next word is excelente, which is the same as excellent. Excelente, excellent. And then the last one, which I'm sure a few of you might have heard, people who speak Spanish might say Mexico, Mexico. So like the hit sounding hit, Mexico. This one, I'm not sure if there are any rules for when to pronounce it as h or x or s, but you'll hardly find words with it. I think it's something you just get used to as you hear more words with the X or X in them. So here, our words are, okay, this letter is Y, and our first word is E, which means and, but this sound is similar to the E in eat. So E and eat. Then we have Yema, which is similar to yolk, and Yola, which is similar to your. So the first one is an E sound, and the rest are your usual Y sounds. Our final letter, theta. Theta. So like the CE or CI, this is pronounced like a sound. So our first word is zapatos, zapatos, which is similar to thug. Then we have circon, circon, which is like think. Then we have zorro, zorro, which is similar to thought. Okay, and that's our alphabet. Now I have a few notes. Firstly, if you see a CH in Spanish, it's pronounced the same as English, so ch. Actually, let me get to these questions first before we continue. Okay, is the Z also pronounced as TH in Latin America? Okay, in Latin America, it isn't. It's pronounced like S sound, zapatos, instead of the zapatos that we have in Spain. Okay, so before we continue, again, are there any letters you'd like to go over? We still have a bit of time. Okay, pronunciation of the letter R. Okay, so R is R, R. So we have raro, reacción, rígido, r. It's a short trill, r, r. If we have two R's, which we'll get to later, it's r. It's just a longer version of our first R. Okay, U. Okay, so the U sound in Spanish is pronounced U in English. So Urdu, Uzbek, Upsilon, and then in Spanish, Uzbeko, Urdu, Upsilon. Okay, L and M. I think that one we can do quickly. So L is the same as in English. I think our examples were Leon, Lima, and lobster over here. Leon, Lima, and langosta. So in English, we have lion, lime, and lobster. That one stays the same. Same as M. M would stay the same. I think our examples were música. Marrón is another example, that's a color. And maestro. And we have mezcla as well. This is the same as English. Okay, so next we have, okay, here I see W. Okay, so the W can be pronounced as your normal W, so W, or it can be pronounced as GW. I think that would just depend on the person rather than being an actual rule in Spanish, because most of these words are borrowed from English. Okay, what is the difference between the pronunciation of J and G? Okay, someone answered, thank you. Yes, that's correct. The G is deeper and the J is more subtle. Okay, so the O in Spanish is O, like awesome, or, oil, orb. And then in Spanish, our examples are olla, oso, oveja. Okay, and then we have the I. So in
Lam, I have a
Spanish,
question. So a lot of the words are similar to English words, right? So I think if we were to master the letters and the pronunciation of the letters, it would make it much more easier to understand the language, right? In terms of, because a lot of words are similar from what we're seeing on your screen or your slides. So I think it would make it much more easier to understand, right? It's not as starting a language from scratch. Is that correct?
So yeah, when you master the alphabet, then you'll be able to understand like how a word is spelled when you hear it, and then you can immediately make that connection between Spanish and English. Oh, so over here
For
we have
example, like musica.
Hmm.
I mean, we know it's music, so it's just about the pronunciation from our side.
Okay. So, okay, we have one more, and that is the I in English. So that's an E in Spanish. Same as Arabic. So it says here your name is Fatima. So I, Fatima. And then in Spanish, we have inspirar, igloo, and incidente. So inspire, igloo, and incident. Okay, so the V is the same as a B. So in Spanish, it would be B. So we have valeroso, varar, and vejiga. Okay, is that all we have? Okay, let's continue then. So we said that the ch in English is also a ch in Spanish. Over here, we should have a word. Okay, coche. 2, 3, 9. It's the 9th word on the right-hand side. Coche, che. Then we have the double L, which someone brought up. That makes a y sound. So I'm not sure if you remember the word olla that we had. So that double L sound is a y. So over here, we have detalle, detalle. Our next word is the double R. So our first word is guerra, guerra. So it's a longer R sound. So it's R. And our final one is a U with 2 dots above it. That makes a W sound. We'll get into that in a few minutes. So as you can see here, some of these words have accents on them. Accents being those little lines that are slanted above a letter. So the accents mean that you have to place emphasis on the letter that has the accent. So over here, we have anécdota and the detalle. So it's anécdota. So instead of anécdota or anécdota, It's anécdota. I think that might take a bit to get the hang of, but let's practice for now. Our next word with an accent is equivocación. So instead of equivocación or equivocación or equivocación, it's equivocación. Un equivocación. So over here, I just have an explanation of the ga, the, thi, goku and ga, he, hi, gogu. So over here, to clarify once more, ka in Spanish is the same as ka in English, a ka sound. Then we have the in Spanish is the, not like the, but the more, not like that in English. Then we have thi in Spanish, which would be like thing or think in English. And we have ko in Spanish, same sound as a K, ko, and then ku, which is ku. So when stuck, just refer to the slide. Hopefully that will clear any doubts or confusion. So now onto the G. Our first would be ga, which is ga. Then he, which we discussed has no equivalent in English. So he, like the Arabic, kha, or the Afrikaans, khia. Then we have khi. Next is go, and afterwards gu. Okay, quick question over here. If there is a U after a Q, is it pronounced like queen in English? Okay. If there's a U after a Q, it's still pronounced k. But if there's a vowel after the U, so for example, let me just type this. Q-U-E, this is pronounced K. K. Okay, so our next G sound has, okay, so our next G is followed by a U and an E. So we'll stick to the rules. GU is gu and GU is gi. I mean, GU is gu as well. But over here, we ignore the U sound. So it follows the rule where it stays a G sound, but you don't pronounce the U. Like the K I sent earlier, you just ignore the U. So we have ge and gi. So our first word, guerra, not gera or guerra, guerra. And then, oh yes, I think I mentioned earlier that if we have two vowels next to each other, they are pronounced separately. But with G-U-E or G-U-I, you just pronounce it as G and E or G and E. So ge and gi.
Ilham, I have a question. Can you perhaps find a YouTube video for us with the alphabet, something good, so we can basically just follow that as well with your video, you know, something that we can just repeat and listen to and get familiar with.
Okay, I will find a nice one after class and I'll have that sent.
Shukran.
Okay, so our next one is G. This letter we have over here on the left-hand side, the U with two dots, so W and an A. So this is pronounced gue, and the next one is pronounced gui. So over here, the U with two dots just takes the sound of an English W, gue and gui. So over here it says, vamos a practicar, meaning let's practice. So our first word over here, we saw the sound earlier, ge. And now double R is a bit long, r, a. So our first word is guerra, guerra. This means war. Our second word is impacto, impacto. So I sound, a sound, and o sound. But the rest are all similar to English, impacto. Our next word is agujero, agujero, agujero. Our fourth word, if you remember, the H in Spanish is silent. So this is hoyo, hoyo. Okay, can the CO and CU sounds be repeated? Okay, so CO is ko and CU is ku. Our next word has this. It's convencer. So you have the CO, which is ko, VE, be, and CE, the. Convencer, convencer. Next word, pretty simple, suelto. So if you remember, GUE is pronounced ge, but because this is an S, even though there's a UE, you have to pronounce them separately, suelto. G is the only letter where if there's a U and an E or a U and an I following it, it's pronounced by ignoring the U. Suelto. Next, we have detalle. So that double L sound we spoke about, yeah, detalle, detalle. Our next word has an accent. So this would be anécdota. We're placing the emphasis on that e, anécdota. Almost there. So the next one we have is coche, coche. C is the same as in English, k sound, coche. Next is equi, ignoring that U over there, equivocación, equivocación, equivocación. Next is guapo. So over here, the U is followed by an A, not an E or an I, which means we'll pronounce the U. Guapo, guapo. Next, we have linguística. So here we have that U with the two dots, so we know that's a gui sound. And we also have an accent. So we're going to place our emphasis on that I. So linguística, linguística. And our final word is gemelo. That GE sound is ch, gemelo. And we made it through our first class. Are there any questions for these last 2 minutes?
Shukran, Ilham. I really enjoyed the class. Just one thing, I think in terms of like the practical putting the words together, I still find it, obviously it has to be, it's tough now in the beginning because I'm not really familiar with letters, but inshallah, I think it will definitely get better over time. I'm sure the other students feel the same, you know, just putting the words together, knowing what sounds to use when and how to pronounce it, but it was excellent. Really, really good. Can you please send your feedback in the chat? How was your first class?
Sorry if I was speaking a bit too fast today. It's my first group class, I was a bit nervous. Shukran, everyone.
Do we have any homework or anything that we need to do for you?
Oh, yes. Okay.
next week?
So the PDF I plan on sending, I will record myself pronouncing each word, because at first I thought, okay, maybe you can put it into Google Translate, but then I remembered Google Translate might not have the Spanish accent from Spain. So I will record myself reading it slowly. What I recommend is that you read it by yourself, then listen to the recording, see if you made any mistakes, and then just write down those words you still need a bit of help with. And if there are a few, maybe we can go over those in the next class, so that we're just clear on how to pronounce everything before we carry on. But maybe just rewatch the recording, and I'll send a YouTube video as well, and hopefully there'll be no confusion.
Excellent. I just have one last question as well. In terms of our goals for 8 weeks, right? What you intend covering within these 8 weeks, or if the student sticks out the 8 weeks, what will they be able to achieve for level 1, for example?
So 8 weeks is quite a bit of time for Spanish because it's so similar to English. So in 8 weeks, I would like for us to be able to speak in the present tense, simple past tense, and simple future tense, inshallah. And also hopefully be able to speak about a few basic things. Something I planned was going to a hotel and booking a room or a few rooms in a hotel. Something that's useful for us, because I'm assuming maybe some people are learning this for the sake of tourism, wanting to travel to Spain or South America. So that's what I have planned. And then also the principal grammar concepts in Spanish that don't exist in English. I plan on tying that in with vocab so that we get a mix of the two and we really understand how to formulate sentences in Spanish, because we have more vocab as well as how to actually structure these sentences. So that's what I have in store for these next few weeks.
Shukran so much.
Fine. Okay, sorry, there's just a quick question here. How different is the word order of Spanish compared to English? It's not different, but you will find that sometimes native speakers mix the order of certain things in sentences a little bit, but most of the time it stays the same, and you'll be correct if you keep it the same. Okay, so that's it for today.
Okay, shukran, Ilham. We will meet next week and we'll await your material, inshallah. And whoever wants to join the Turkish class tomorrow, you can message me. That's another language that we're starting tomorrow evening. It's a new journey. One of the motivations behind that language is, the series Erdogan and Usman. And so I think that was one of my motivations to start Turkish as well. So if you're interested in learning Turkish as a language as well, please message me and you can start that journey as well. Shukran. Okay, Ilham. Shukran jazilan. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Shukran for having me.
Have a safe week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How do I say goodbye in Spanish?
Well, goodbye would be adios, but we're going to see each other next week. So hasta pronto. See you soon.
Okay, adios.
Okay. Hasta pronto.
Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto.
Perfecto.
Excelente. Excelento. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.